All right, hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster. This is Lenape High School. Let me do this. There. Now you can read it. Lenape High School, and I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't think it's Lenape. Anyway, if it is, I apologize. So, I've known the enlisted instructor there for online at least a number of years, and I couldn't wait to get a look at this exhibition drill team. It's a little rough around the edges. They've been practicing and working, but still, I'm excited to view this and critique it. Now I'm going to try not to make this an hour long. I'm going to try and yeah, good luck, huh? All right. So first, let's see here. What am I looking at? I'm looking at a drill team, an exhibition drill team in column of twos, which is just fine. You can form up however you want. You can do just about anything with exhibition drill, which I really appreciate. And here, another thing that I really appreciate is you can enter anywhere, which is exactly the way it should be. Having the restriction of entering and exiting at a certain point is well, yeah, it's restricting, and I'm all for unrestricted movement and visual design here. So, all right, let's see what we have. Okay, so to begin with, the voice box here. I just want to mention this. Your commander, you're calling commands just from your throat, and you're trying to get that gravelly sound through, and you're going to damage your vocal cords. Now, you're not going to notice that probably for another 10, 15, even 20 years if you keep going that way. But as soon as you get up to my age, then in your late 40s and even into your 50s, now I'm in my middle 50s, as soon as you get into that age range there, then you're going to start hearing that the decline of your voice, and it'll start to it's unfixable by then. So whatever you do right now, please start activating your diaphragm. And it can be a little bit difficult at first, but there's techniques to do that. I've posted about it on Instagram several times, and it transposts to crosses over to Facebook. So anyway, it's something you really need to look into. Now, the command that you gave, port arms, that's not really necessarily setting up the stage for the exhibition drill routine. Think of something else. Ready move is a usual term that can be used for anything, honestly. But just using the term port arms, it's not exhibition. It's more of an exhibitionized. I forget who came up with the regsibition. I forget who came up with that term several years ago. Maybe it was Bill Owen, possibly. Don't know, but anyway, so you don't want regsibition. You don't want to use regulation drill terms in the exhibition atmosphere, and you don't even want to use regulation drill movement in the exhibition atmosphere. So here we go. So instead of port arms and forward march, you could have handled everything. Nice job. Yeah, that works. Oh, I see what you did. Okay. 2 blocks of 4. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. All right, good. Two blocks of 4 with 2 in the middle. Good. All right, so I appreciate the setup here. I really do. I think that is well done, and you're centered as well. I appreciate the how the team was able to enter and get this move into, or the formation setup. That was well designed. It added some intrigue and helped the audience keep their eyes on, oh, hey, what are they going to do next, type of thing. And that's exactly what you want. That's great. What I would suggest is that the two blocks of 4, as they're moving away and back, that they actually perform and not march at port. So when I was talking about reg submission, that is reg submission, marching at port. Everybody can march at port. Now, I understand that this is a routine that is in the building stages, and that's just fine. But I suggest that you perform. So the rifle movements looked like you were executing some TikToks going in, and that's great. Anything that you could do. There's all kinds of individual short videos on my YouTube channel that are all about the small rifle movements that you can layer over marching or use just on their own, standing still. And then you can take all of those movements and then put them together, similar to what you've started to do here. Put them all together, layer them over the marching routine, and then you have more of an exhibition routine. So I would suggest that the 4 perform and not just march, or the 2 blocks of 4. Okay, good. I want to go back here just a minute. Sorry, a little farther. So here, here with the 2 blocks of 4 stopping, you could have had the 2 even marching up a little closer to form a little more of a wedge. So a wedge, whether it's a wedge to the front or a wedge that's reversed, either one has an emphasis to it, and also creates a focus. It draws the eye to the point, whether it's at the front or at the back. And even having the 2 blocks of 4 right here and then 2 here, that's still more of a wedge shape, and that would also draw emphasis into the 2 who are spinning at the front. So the 2 who are spinning could have started to march forward and then had the 8 turn at the last moment and then get that report in. Now, also, I would suggest that we don't want to use variation of technique a lot when we're doing synchronized movement, simultaneous movement. We want to, as here, you can see that the rifles are just a little bit off, so that means that there's a little bit of a technique issue or a timing issue, either one. And what I mean by technique issue is hand placement's a little bit too far out or a little bit too far in the rifle as the rifle is being spun. The hand placements are not the same, so you don't want that variation of technique there. However, at the salute point, where everybody is at the, we'll go back to that term, reg submission, the exhibitionized regulation part, we don't want just a regular present arms. We want something different. So that something different can come in the form of what the Air Force Honor Guard does. Air Force Honor Guard drill team will do several different types of rifle positions, the ending rifle positions, and they have a nice big wedge going. You'll see two of the guys at the back, they have the rifle. They have the rifle pointed off like this on the left side, like this on the right side, and then you have the guys who are kneeling, and they've caught the rifle like this. So it's having that variation of technique there. That also creates an intrigue for your audience. That difference really does communicate well, comes across well. A typical standard regulation drill salute, a present arms with the rifle, not so much. So it looked like that was possibly wow, an announcement over a performance. Come on, school. That's not good. Not good at all. That's in my terms, that's highly disrespectful to whoever's performing. Never should have happened. And that reflects badly on the school, not the team here, not Lenape performing, but that's disappointing. That really is. All right, so let me go back here. So commander, there, it looked like that was a command. So why was that a command? Why did you need a command? Everybody just did the same thing a split second prior. Now, why didn't everybody, after the double butt slam, why didn't everybody take off? Instead of having that command butt slam there. Also, look here, timing is a little off. Watch this. So, this cadet here, he was probably some nerves. That happens. So he's a little bit late. But why a facing movement as well? So there's all kinds of ways to move to the flank and start marching or finish marching. As you're marching, you can move to the flank and stop marching. All kinds of inventive ways. So be creative when you're doing this, when you're creating the routine.
When he judged there were an unarmed two violations in the South Gym, please return to the South Gym to conduct weapons.
So, marching in place and then calling halt. Still, this is more of an exhibitionized regulation part. Now, a cordon, this is great, absolutely fantastic, and I really appreciate the catch of the rifle here and keeping the rifle up at the shoulder, having it hopefully horizontal. Not everybody's horizontal here, so the end hold has some variation here. However, the cordon is the wrong way. So your audience just missed the ability to see this and have it be much more effective as so let's say I'm the audience. I'm sitting here in the audience. The cordon should have been going back and forth this way, and whoever can march away from the audience or towards, doesn't matter, but marching back and forth this way doesn't really have as much of an effect as orienting the cordon the other way. So why pick up the two? Why have the two march through and then have the, and this is fine having So it's fine having someone march through, but having one march through, then two march through, then one march through, back to the very beginning of where you were, doesn't necessarily move the exhibition sequence on. It just sets you right back into the same place you were. It's as if nothing happened. So I would say that I would suggest that you work out an alternative to having this back and forth. Definitely orient so that you're going away from and towards the audience. Now, obviously, not everybody in the audience is sitting dead center and can see exactly what's going on. But even as you spread out and move away from the center, you still get a better effect of going to and from the audience than going back and forth sideways. You can see this with the Army drill team, Air Force Honor Guard drill team. They'll do this constantly. Let's see, yeah, even the Coasties and Navy Ceremonial Guard drill team, they'll also have a cordon, but it doesn't go back and forth this way, left to right. Sorry, that's Scout. He's barking. Somebody must be here. Forming a straight line. It's called a company front. All right, this is, I appreciate the way, more of a Marine Corps silent drill platoon type of movement to get in there. It's one of the ways that they've used to get into their what they call the long line. This is fine. However, marching in place, calling a halt, it's not exactly the way you want. Almost there. The way you want to go across. Now that was good. A little bit of a increase in tempo. Couple of drillers a little unsure of that toss. So some repetition here. Going to the same position and doing something different is good. I can appreciate that. It, after being having been a judge for so long and watching ripple lines again and again and again, it tends to be a little monotonous to see the same positions used over and over again. However, you didn't do the same thing. So you brought the rifle forward, did the toss, but then caught and then went down to the kneeling position here. A type of Queen Anne. So, and I get this position. I understand what you're doing, but it's not as effective as the standard Queen Anne salute, the kneeling Queen Anne salute. So the kneeling Queen Anne salute is going to have an upright back, a nice straight back. The left thigh is going to be horizontal, and then the left shin, the bottom of the leg, is going to be vertical, so that you have two 90-degree angles. All right, there, that's even better. All right, so you have two 90-degree angles. This is what you have, and you have varying degrees of being bent over, and it just isn't. It's not communicating a powerful look, and that's exactly what you want to communicate here. Is excuse me, a consistent, powerful look, but still, it does come across fairly well. It just could communicate much better to your audience, and you can see it. Honestly, it looks like you're just kind of relaxing on your, with your left elbow on your left knee, and kind of. Okay, so we caught our breath from the first part. Now let's continue with the second part, and you'll get up and do the rest of the routine. So that's not really the look that you want to have. I definitely suggest changing that. So as you catch, you come down, the rifle then doesn't touch the ground. Since you caught it low enough near the small of the stock, it looks like pretty much right on the small of the stock, you'll bring it behind you and then come up. Now, whether you touch the shoulder with your left or bring it in front, you have a nice L shape with a 90-degree here. Don't have to bring the hand back. You can keep it out to the front. You can even bring the elbow over. Let me see, get in there. You can bring the elbow over so that the hand is centered, or you can come straight out from the shoulder. Either one you want. There's all kinds of variations that you can do, but I definitely suggest standing up nice and straight, at least with your back, not necessarily in the standing position. But then there's the standing Queen Anne as well, and that's something that you can explore at that. Remember when you reported in, you had the 8 there and then the 2. If you ever wanted to bring them to the front, have those 8. You could have 2 with the standing Queen Anne at the very back on each side, and then 2 with the kneeling Queen Anne, and then the 2 in the front with something different. All kinds of different options that you have. A lot of times the ripple line is inserted in a routine because I'm not saying this is the case at all, but it's to take up time. Nice catch, Commander. That was good. Oh, that. Let me show you back a little further there. All right. Good. That works. And this is more of what the Army drill team does. They'll have one of the soldiers at the very end, then do something a little bit different, a little bit extra at the end. Maybe a kind of some kind of a signal to the audience, and it might produce a grin or two. Getting out of the military persona just for a split second there to communicate with the audience, to come down to an individual personal level. It works very well. And sometimes, and the routines change over the years, and sometimes it's something extra, something a little sharper. It might be that the end is one of the soloists and can do a little bit more of a spin here and there, something like that. So, Commander, you did a fine job there. I appreciate that. But now, look what happens after you do this. All right, and I'm not going to try and get that specific that one frame there, but as you brought the rifle down, your knees bent and you, well, yeah, we gotta show that. Well, it's in between frames, of course. So what you, of course it is. So there, you're bending over at the waist, and both of your knees, especially your right one, bends just a bit so that you can facilitate that. So you have this nice sharp move, and it does look sharp. It needs a little bit of work, but it does look sharp here. But then you have this move that pretty much almost negates the sharpness that you just created. Now here's the cordon that you should have had. That the commander could have marched up and down with. All right, so there's a real danger of losing timing here when you split the team up. You split it in half, then you split it even farther, and that's so you had alignment issues and also some timing issues. All right, and an exchange like that, it's great for these two right here because the audience can see that well. The center two are facing. See, there's the orientation. Okay, that's what you have. You have orientation issues. So your cordon was oriented incorrectly, and then everybody else, these four over here, these four over here, they're oriented. I'm not British. Oriented incorrectly. So instead of having them like this, you should have them like this so that everybody can see the exchanges. Yeah, having exchanges going this way, it's not as effective. Having that extreme separation too, I appreciate it because then you're communicating with more of the audience at the farthest reaches of the stands. Nice job, nicely done. I didn't expect that at all. I liked the reaching and then coming back. I expected a toss, and it didn't happen, and that's okay. Doesn't have to. So one of the things that you might want to look at is love the stripe on the trousers. It works well, and it looks like you have the same color cord. Great command. That was report, perfect. That works. That's not a regulation command, so it works well. All right, so I'll talk about variation of technique here, but let me first mention this. So you concentrate constantly with the 2 blocks of 4. The 2 blocks of 4 are doing this. The 2 blocks of 4 are constantly doing this. Then they split up into 4 sections of 2, but then they go right back into the 2 blocks of 4. They're out here, 2 blocks of 4. They're marching back in, 2 blocks of 4, and now you're reporting out. All right, so here's what I'm talking about with variation of technique. Notice the left hand placement. Since you're at present arms, then we don't need variation of technique here. This definitely applies even more in regulation drill. But I would suspect, since you're doing it here, you're probably doing it in the regulation sequence. So look at the height of the rifle, the angle of the rifle here, the left hand placement, the right hand placement. This right hand here is wrapped around the sling, it looks like. Everybody else looks like they are tucked under the sling, which, you know, they should be. But that's again for regulation. Another angle here. So that's variation of technique that you don't want, and that applies obviously more in the regulation sequence. But even for exhibition drill, if you're going to do something like this and have it performed throughout the whole team, then you definitely want to have everybody looking exactly the same as much as possible. Now, obviously, height differences play into the rifle height or the rifle level on the body, so that's not a huge deal. But hand placement and rifle angle, that's a big deal. That really is. That's it's called muddy communication. It's less effective communication. So you're constantly communicating when you're out performing. Even when you're not performing, you're still communicating. When people look at you, especially in uniform, but out on the drill floor, you're communicating the entire time, and you want as clear a communication as possible.
United States, I'm Junior Sergeant Officer 24. The intertidal to prevent rejection has to bring the point today on excavation. President Leader Joe Moore, done! Thank you, Sergeant!
Good. Thank you, Sergeant, was the command to leave. Or at least the command to recover from the salute. So why didn't the rest of the team perform? I liked how the team reformed and left. However, you marched out at port. You didn't perform. So performing out is definitely, performing in is necessary, performing out is necessary. You have to, even if you perform out and the everybody is just clapping wildly for your performance, that so much that if you were on stage, you'd have a curtain call that you'd come right back in, accept your applause from the audience. Performing out is definitely necessary. All right, so I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to bring up my World Drill Association exhibition drill sheet, and I'm going to show you where you land on that sheet. Okay, so here is the overall effect sheet that I designed for junior A and open classes. All right, and then there's also a world class, and it has an extra bit to it, but this is applicable for the performance that we just saw. All right, so there's repertoire effect and then performance effect. So we have the what and the how. In regulation drill, we don't necessarily have the what because we have a set sequence, unless you have open. That's entirely different. Anyway, so you have a certain sequence and you perform it. It's pretty much just the how, not necessarily the what. So for exhibition drill, though, we have the what. What are they marching? What are they performing? And then we have the how. So for overall effect here, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at effect. Overall effect, also called general effect. That's how it makes me feel. That's the only judge that actually responds to, oh, I like that. Oh, I don't know if I actually understood that. That's the way we normally react. Everybody reacts that way, and every single judge at every single drill meet reacts that way, unless they've been trained. And there's maybe that many judges out of that many around the country who have actually had enough experience. There's not really training out there except what I offer, but everybody normally comes to a performance and goes, oh, that was great. I liked that. That's the reaction. So overall effect is looking at reaction, and you can look here that and see all of these bullet points. But then, as in my last video, let me enlarge this a bit here. As in the last video, the regulation drill video that I had, I forget that. It was just a few days ago. But anyway, you can see here, there's the scores. Can you see my, no you can't. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. So you have the scores. the score range, and you have 5 boxes. You have score ranges within each box, and then each box is broken down into thirds as well, except box 1. Hopefully you don't fall into box 1, and if you do, then you probably shouldn't be performing. I can't think of anyone who would fall into box 1 in the exhibition phase, unless they're absolutely brand new, probably a soloist, and have no idea what they're doing, and they're just trying it for the heck of it. So I can understand that. Anyway, so for what we saw today, or for this video here, remember, we're going to take these descriptive words, seldom, rarely, sometimes, frequently, and constantly, and we're going to try and apply them to these bullet points here, and also these bullet points here. And we're going to get a we're going to come up with a score, and you can see that I've put in whether it's a soloist or a team. The commander also gets a score. The guidon, if there also gets a score. I mean, there's the ability to have everything for the team, which I really wish I could, or we could have more teams march a guidon and have a much more full team, much more full performance. Anyway, so we're looking at oh, wrong one. Let me move this over like that. Okay, so we're looking at these bullet points and then trying to match those descriptive words there. And then we also have the learning steps that also apply to each one of these blocks here, blocks 1 through 5. And so what I would say here is that, and what's interesting about having the what and the how, you can have two very disparate scores. So as far as the what, you're looking at, let me bring this down. There we go. You're looking at all of these different bullet points, and then you're going to try and match up the words here. So we're going to look at coordination and staging. Actually, staging worked out relatively well when you were spreading out. The timing wasn't all that great, but staging also comes into the orientation. Remember, we had the cordon that was flat against the audience instead of oriented so that the audience could see up and down the cordon. So that's part of staging. Impacts, resolutions, climaxes in phrases and production. That's a little technical. This is why judging takes training. You don't just waltz onto the field and just because you graduated basic or boot camp doesn't mean you can judge effectively. You might be able to look at something or a performance and offer some kind of a score, but teams take months to work on routines, and judges who just waltz out onto the field, it's a little it can be disappointing as far as the scoring comes. Anyway, so imagination, creativity, originality, detailing, nuance, artistic qualities. So detailing, nuance, detailing, that's the tiny details of what's being performed. There was quite a bit of repetition in the performance, so nuance, artistic qualities. Now somebody's going to look at this and go, oh, artistic qualities, come on, what do you want, dance? That's exhibition drill is an art form that we have to come to terms with. I know that this can be uncomfortable for some of us in uniform. I understand that. I don't have a problem with it because, well, I created it. I got trained by Winter Guard International when I was over in Holland, so I understand artistic qualities, and there were artistic qualities in that performance. pacing of the routine over time. It tended to lag a little bit. Anyway, I need to move on. All right, so let's go down to, let me move here. Let's go down to performance effect. So did it generate emotion and engagement with the audience? I think it did have a little bit of engagement here and there. Embodied and sustained identity and style. Now that, when we talk about military bearing, there's a persona that we take on as soon as we are on the drill team and we're going out to perform and we're performing. That persona, we tend to call it military bearing, but that persona is an embodied identity. The style is what the team chooses, how the team chooses to drill. And so the style was a little loose. There wasn't necessarily a defined style there. Many of the team members were relatively new to spinning the rifle, and you could tell in their uneasiness with manipulating the rifle at times. Floor coverage, I think you did a pretty decent job, honestly. It lacked some cohesive parts there because you tended to fall apart as you spread out, but still you attempted that floor coverage, not bad. All right, so now the attempt is there. So that comes in to the attempt is there. That comes into the repertoire, the what, and then the effect, the performance effect. The what and the how. The how, it tends to drop down. So I would rate the team probably around in box 3, and I would rate them probably around a 40 as far as the let's see. So we have the team is going to be in the 100 scoring range, so we're going to use the top. All right, so for the top score here, the what, I'd rate them around 40, and then that's for the top, and then the how is going to be probably around a 35, 36. So you had some substance there, but it dropped down a little bit. What you want to try and do is make sure that those scores match up, 40 and 40, and then also, you know, in your higher boxes there. And this is, you know, massively quick. I'm not going into much detail at all, and I have training available. But as far as the team is concerned, it was a solid performance in a mid to low box 3. So you come up with sometimes, and you know certain things that are happening, and that's not bad. That's not bad at all. You get a low C score, and that's fine for a rough around the edges building routine at this point. That's okay. You did just fine, and you can take this routine and build on it and work it and come back next year and really push forward. And I think you did a super job. So, all right, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.